There are a wide variety of status effects in Dead by Daylight. Some are stronger than others, some can help you make split second decisions that might save you the match, some hinder you to a point where you're in such a state of focus on finding that one fucking totem that's cursing you that you ignore everything else going on in the match, which I am very guilty of. But yeah, this video will cover all status effects in Dead by Daylight explain them as of patch 10.0.3. But yeah, welcome on in gamers, Shane C613 here. Let's kick it off. Starting off, we have Exhausted. This only affects survivors. Survivors suffering from exhausted are unable to use any of the numerous exhaustion perks. Exhaustion recovers whenever the affected survivor is not running and pauses if they do run. Perks such as sprint bursts will cause exhaustion. Killer perks such as Mindbreaker and killer add-ons such as the Huntress's exhaustion hatchet add-on thingy. I don't remember the name of it, but I'll slap a pic on the screen now. Will also cause exhaustion. Um, but yeah, moving on. We have blindness next. This can be applied to both killers and survivors. Blindness suppresses the aura reading abilities of the affected player. For survivors, you can't see auras like generators, hooks, teammates, or the hatch, but you can still see everything else normally. There are some exceptions here, like execute switches, glyphs, and memory shards. For killers, you might suffer from blindness if you pick up a survivor and they have boil over. You can't see a hook stay or a hook within a certain proximity. For killers, there are exceptions of certain essential abilities which are usually related to objects located in the environment that are tied to the killer's power, such as Trapper's Traps, Nemesis zombies, or Hag's Traps. Survivors are also immune to blindness when it comes to certain killer ability location thingies, such as Onryo's TVs and Pigs bear trap boxes. Next up, we have the broken status effect. This only affects survivors. Survivors suffering from broken can no longer be healed past the injured state, not by themselves, other survivors, or any healing effects or perks such as inner strength. Certain survivor perks can leave you broken, such as deliverance and for the people, and certain killer add-ons can cause you to be broken, such as Legion's Pin, where if you mend yourself, you suffer from the broken status effect. So it might always be better to let a teammate mend you when you know that the Legion has this add-on. Or for instance, a killer add-on such as a killer perk, sorry, such as Force Penance from Pyramid Head can leave you broken if you take a protection hit for a certain duration. Next up, we have Endurance. This affects survivors mainly, and on a very rare occasion, it did affect killers. So survivors benefiting from the endurance status effect can resist damage from the killer that would otherwise put them in the dying state. So instead, they remain in the injured state and suffer from the deep wound status effect. It's important to note survivors who are already suffering from deep wound cannot be protected by endurance. So if you're hit while in the deep wound, but you have the endurance status effect displayed on your screen, you will still go down. Perks such as Off the Record and Dead Hard grant the survivor player endurance. Now, this is extremely rare, but during certain events, killers also have benefited from endurance in the past, like when using things such as the Twisted Skill special ability, which was only available during the Twisted Masquerade anniversary. It allowed them to endure a pallet stun, for instance. Personally, I would love to see this used a bit more in future killer perks, but with the actual perk endurance that's there currently, I doubt it will ever happen. But hey, survivors have dead hard, so why not look at something like this for a killer fully enduring a stun if it's timed perfectly? Next up, we have Exposed. This only affects survivors. Survivors suffering from Exposed are extremely vulnerable to a killer's basic attack, putting them into the dying state in a single hit. Survivor perks such as Dramaturgy and Shoulder the Burden will leave you exposed. Not all the time with Dramaturgy, but it can do. And killer perks such as Friends Till the End, Noed, and Starstruck can also expose you. Certain killer add ons such as Wesker's Iridescent Ouroboros Vial, which leaves you exposed for 30 seconds when you reach full infection, or Deathslinger's Eerie Coin, which exposes you if you get speared from at least 12 meters away. Next up, we have Deep Wound. This only affects survivors. Survivors suffering from Deep Wound are basically on borrowed time and will automatically enter the dying state after 20 seconds, unless they either self mend or get mended by another survivor. The Deep Wound timer is displayed on all players' screens as a special yellow bar. The timer is paused whenever the affected survivor is either running or in the process of mending. If survivors take any damage while suffering from Deep Wound, they immediately enter the dying state, as I previously said. Deep Wound is considered its own health state, so it's kind of in between the dying state and the injured state for technical reasons. So healing, i.e., mending, will put you back into the injured state where you could benefit from endurance. Um, so yeah, this also applies to any healing effects acting on Deep Wound. Certain survivor perks can leave you in Deep Wound, such as a successful activation of Dead Hard, and killer abilities such as Legion's Feral Frenzy and Skull Merchant's Eye in the Sky will leave you in Deep Wound. Next up, we have Haste. This is applicable to both survivors and killers. The haste status effect is a buffing effect that boosts a player's movement speed. The strength of the effect depends on the specific unlockable and can be stacked when applied from multiple haste sources, but be sure to pay attention to behavior's new introduction of diminishing returns on different perks. Perks such as Sprint Burst and Light will grant you haste as a survivor, whereas perks such as Machine Learning and Play with Your Field will grant you haste as killer. Next up, we have the Hemorrhage status effect. This is only applicable to survivors. The Hemorrhage status effect is a debuffing effect applied by various unlockables. It causes survivors to produce more pools of blood, making them easier to track. It also causes them to lose any partially healing progress by about 7% per second, if not healed fully. Perks such as Sloppy Blucher and Blood Echo can cause the Hemorrhage status effect, but you're more likely to see it in killer add-ons in my opinion. So keep an eye on your screen to make sure that you're not suffering from this status effect before committing to a potentially dangerous heal. Next up, we have the Mangled status effect. This is only applicable to survivors as well. The Mangled status effect is a debuffing effect applied whenever a healthy survivor is hit and injured by the killer, most often with a basic attack. The effect can increase to the affected survivor's healing time by reducing the healing speed on them by about 20%, both when healing themselves or being healed by other survivors. The effect only applies for a limited time, so it runs on a timer and that is determined by the unlockable inflicting it, allowing players to choose to heal through it or just wait it out. Perks such as Sloppy Butcher apply the Mangled status effect, but like Hemorrhage, you will see this more in add-ons such as the Huntress's Rusted Head add-on or Trapper's Rusted Jaws add-on. Next up we have Hindered. This can apply to both survivors and killers. The Hindered status effect is a debuffing effect that slows a player's movement speed. The default strength of this effect is set at 3%, but most unlockables apply a stronger one, reducing the movement speed by considerably more. Killer perks such as Force Hesitation will apply the Hindered status effect when another survivor is put into the dying state within 16 meters, which can be crazy on certain killers like my main man Bubba, especially when combined with perks like Infectious Fry. Likewise, with survivors, perks such as Champion of Light or Chemical Trap can apply the Hindered status effect. Next up, we have Undetectable. This is only applicable to killers. The Undetectable status effect is a buffing effect applied by numerous unlockables. Killers benefiting from Undetectable are granted several stealth abilities and generally shielded from the aura reading abilities of survivors. Undetectable has the following effects. It suppresses your terror radius. Um, it should be noted that if the entity does have or if the killer does have a lullaby, it will not be suppressed and will remain unaffected by this undetectable status effect. The undetectable also suppresses your red stain. It blocks all aura reading abilities from survivors that would normally reveal you. It suppresses the Stinger SFX jump scare that would usually play when a stationary killer starts moving again. And it enables a smoky screen VFX that indicates stealth mode for the killer player. Perks such as Tinkerer from Hillbilly or Trail of Torment from Pyramid Head can give you the undetectable status effect, and add-ons from Huntresses such as her Wooden Fox, probably one of the scariest add-ons in the game actually, can also make you undetectable. Next up we have Oblivious. This is only applicable to survivors. Now, here we're going to make a distinction between Oblivious and Undetectable because this confused me for a long time when I first started playing. You would think I would have looked it up, but nah. Um, so the Oblivious status effect is a debuffing effect that can be applied to any survivor as soon as its activation conditions are triggered. For instance, hooking someone for the first time while you have the perk Hex Plating equipped. Survivors suffering from the Oblivious status effect are unable to perceive the killer's terror radius and also do not hear the heartbeat warning of the killer's proximity. Survivors suffering from Oblivious do not suffer from any effects that rely on survivors being inside the terror radius to be applied. So, the best way to describe this scenario, imagine you're facing a Demogorgon, or Demdems, the cute little puppets I like to call them, with a terror radius of 32 meters by default. That's Demdem's terror radius. And you're suffering from Oblivious from Hex Plating. You can't hear Demdems, um, but his terror radius is still there. If he picks up a survivor within 32 meters and all of a sudden you become exposed because he also has the perk Starstruck, you will know that Demdems is within 32 meters of your position, but you don't hear the terror radius or heartbeat. So the killer's terror radius is still there, you just can't perceive it. So it differs to undetectable in that way. Next up, we have the Blessed status effect. This is applicable to survivors, and I would say killers too, because Shadow Step sparks crazy confusion for me while I'm playing as killer. The Blessed status effect is a buffing effect applied within a fixed radius of 24 meters around the boon totems that survivors bless using one or more boon perks. The specific effects applied by Blessed depend on the boon perks themselves that are equipped by the survivors who created the boon totem. Boon Shadow Step is an example here, and a perk that I really struggle against. While within 24 meters of the boon, your scratch marks are suppressed and your auras are hidden from the killer. Next up, we have the Curse status effect. This applies to survivors only. The Cursed status effect is a debuffing effect applied map wide as soon as its activation conditions are triggered. And basically, they emanate from hex totems that are conjured by the killer equipping one or more hex perks. For instance, Hex Blood Favor ignites when, quote, a hex that gains the favor of the entity when blood is spilled, so when a survivor takes damage. The specific effects applied by Cursed depends on the hex perks that are equipped by the killer and apply as long as the perks associated hex totem remains standing. Survivors can remove the Cursed status effect by finding the hex totems and either cleansing or blessing them. An example of a hex perk that will curse you is Hex Rune from Hag. Whenever a generator is being repaired, it will immediately start regressing at up to 100% the normal regression speed, and that will keep happening as long as that hex is up on the map. Next up, we have a mix of some recently introduced, less common, or situational status effects, but they are really good to know in my opinion. Most recently introduced, we have Elusive. Elusive is specifically applied to survivors. It came in alongside the Stranger Things chapter with 11. Survivors benefiting from Elusive are granted several stealth abilities. So, Elusive suppresses grunts of pain when injured, suppresses the creation of scratch marks and pools of blood. It blocks your aura from being revealed, and it can be removed early if the survivor gets hit by a basic attack, gets hit by a special attack, or enters the dying state. There are other perks that have since been reworked or introduced to give Elusive, like self preservation, and it's even been implemented into a killer's power or a killer's add on with the Krasui's dulled knife add on, which grants 5 seconds of Elusive for eating glowing fungus at a cost of 25% consumption rate on the fungus. Overall, I am interested to see what else will be done with this new status effect in future. Next up, we have Incapacitated. This is a status effect that applied exclusively to survivors. I'm going to pop a list on the screen now of all the things that you can and cannot do while incapacitated. As you can see, while incapacitated, you cannot bless or cleanse totems, heal or mend survivors, repair motors, sabo hooks, or use items. However, you can still drop pallets, enter and exit lockers, leave through the exit gates or hatch. Emphasis on gates here though in most scenarios. Like for instance though, if you're versing twins and Victor is still on your back, you can't leave, but taking a hit from Charlotte will push you out. So either way, you have to be careful on how you approach that. You can also open exit gates on the hatch, you can unhook other survivors, and you can vault pallets and windows. Examples of when you might be incapacitated include being hit by the Huntress's weighted head, carrying a Xenos turret, or having Victor on your back when versing the twins. Next up we have Deafened. This can be applied to both killers and survivors, but it's incredibly situational. The Deafened status effect is a debuffing effect that temporarily muffles all other sounds. Examples of being deafened can occur when you're facing the hag with the disfigured ear add-on, or being within range of a flashbang when it goes off, or an event-style firecracker. Next up we have the Glyph status effect HUD. The Glyph status effect is a debuffing effect applied only by the orange glyph, but it's good to notice. Killers suffering from the glyph experience several slowdowns, including longer recovery for basic attacks missed, pallet stones, and slower action speeds for the break and damage action. Next up, we have Madness. Madness is a status effect that's applied specifically to survivors, and it's uniquely associated with the Doctor. It's linked directly with the Doctor's power, known as Carter's Spark, and it affects the sanity of the survivors, both affecting the survivors in unique ways, like spawning illusionary doctors or hindering survivors' abilities to perform certain actions depending on the doctor's add ons. Madness comes in 3 tiers: Madness 1, 2, and 3. Madness tiers are fixed, meaning that once its tier increases, there's no way to lower it until Madness 3 is reached. At which point, the snap out of it action allows survivors to reduce back to Madness 1. There's no possibility to completely lose Madness 1 once it's been gained. So yeah, the last status effect is Revealed, and this was introduced in the 2v8 game mode. The Revealed status effect is a debuffing effect applied by specific killer skills. It reveals the auras of all targeted survivors in the 2v8 game mode. For instance, Huntress had a reveal team skill when hitting survivors with hatchets that would show their aura for 5 seconds. But yeah, one final thing I would say to pay close attention to if you forget what the status effect icon actually means in game. If you look at the arrow beside the icon, if it's pointing down, it means that the status effect is affecting you in some sort of negative way, whereas if it's pointing up, it's affecting you in some sort of positive way. Sometimes there's no arrows at all, with some effects like Oblivious, so I would recommend learning these status effects because they can help you make more informed decisions on what to do in your next game. Some instances could be like if you're oblivious and doing a motor with a teammate and they suddenly run straight away from you, can they hear the killer's terror radius? If you're hemorrhaged and you know that the killer's on the way, do you bother letting teammates heal you for now. If you have endurance, do you take that protection hit or body block? But anyways, that was all status effects in Dead by Daylight as of patch 10.0.3. I hope this video taught you something new that you didn't previously know. I know there is a lot of saturation on platforms when it comes to this type of content, but I just wanted to give it my own little mark. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and smash that like button. And if you want to get notified when I do post next, feel free to go down and hit that sub button too. Both options are totally free and help the channel grow. But yeah, with that being said, I will do my one final plug. You will catch me live on Twitch every Tuesday and Sunday at 6 p.m. GMT for chill Dead by Daylight games. We welcome survivors of all skill levels to join us, and we don't take it all that seriously. We have lots of fun with it, and my only rule for joining is to be nice to all gamers, no matter the situation. That's me signing off for now. Thank you all very much for watching, and if you have learned something new from this video, or want to add anything in that I may have missed, which is very possible, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Have a great day, gamers, and I will see y'all in the fog.